Some multitasking, guys. FanTaSy top left and GuMiho bottom right in this TvT. So first of all, thank you so much, Port, for all those gift subs. We're going to start catching up on those. But because WushJ did 10,000 bits, I'm going to make the cam just a little bit bigger for this, just for a second. With the 10,000 bits, WushJ is adding some Rift Blushes onto Port sub gifts. It's $10 a Rift Blush. Yesterday we had a special deal where it was like, what did we do yesterday? $5 a Rift Blush. Today is $10 a Rift Blush. So the first 10 decorations going up are going to be Rift Blushed. So yeah, thank you so much to WushJ for Rift Blushing up some decorations. There you guys go. Oh, who's this? This is Cafe Pete and this is Zeratunas. You guys are the first of the combo to come out on the streams. S7CC7R. Kind of want to call you Soccer. Thank you so much for a Twitch Prime sub coming in. Dude, I will get to your decoration next after I hang these ones up. Right, I'm sorry, but some of these are going to have to go around the back. Otherwise, the tree's literally going to fall over forwards. Like, literally. Oh. There we go. One. I mean, I guess they have Rift Blushes on, so they actually need to go on the front. Who am I kidding? There we go. Two. Oh, run back over here. Expansion coming down from FanTaSy as... Oh, my God. Adzi with the 5 sub bomb as well. Thank you so much, Adzi, for the 5 sub gifts to make things worse. If you're Guilty GB, Exterminaz, Empress, Salami 900, or Bernie 11, you have just been gifted a sub from Adzi. Say hello, welcome to the WardiTV family. It's so good to have you guys. You have no idea. This is Halafor, actually on a 5-month free sub, got Rift Blushed up via WushJ's 10,000 bits. And this is Amongale coming in, Rift Blushed up by them, WushJ bits as well. First rebound from GuMiho, who is obviously on a later expansion, but still expanding fairly quickly, will mean that he has the tech advantage to work with here moving forward. So that's something to keep in mind, and that does open up opportunities of counterattacks and just ways in which you can kind of get back into the game a little bit. So that's a possibility right now. Is that going to be safe there? It really isn't, is it? Yeah, I have literally no eyes on the game at all. So if something's happening, you guys are going to have to shout really loud so I can actually hear you through Twitch chat or something. Ay. No, nothing's happening at all. Perfect. Wardy, why aren't you moving the camera? We're hanging up fucking Christmas decorations, guys, that's why. And this is also roast beef. And also, whose name's on this one? Is this just an empty decoration with no name on it? No, it isn't. Okay. Well, this one can be Soccer, who just came in for that Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much. I'm going to get to the gifted subs, guys. I'm just trying to prioritize people who are subbed on their own accord first. Soccer, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub coming through. This game's still pretty calm. It is Cloak Banshees from GuMiho. Up against a Raven of FanTaSy, so it kind of feels like that potential aggression from GuMiho is already maybe not quite going to hit its marker. So we'll have to see how that turns out over time. Alright. What else is going on? Okay, Banshee shows up over in the natural where the Raven isn't just out yet, so a few moments here before we can really deal with this Raven. Let's turn the cam off for a moment too. We'll do more decorations during the breaks, guys. As we do see the Banshee getting taken down. So Banshee goes down, Dolphin Wolf comes back in with another 1,000 bits for the day. Takes the Bit Boss back. Man, WushJ, she had 10,000 bits and he was already the Bit Boss, so he actually just healed. That would have been a hell of a Bit Boss. We haven't had like a 10k Bit Boss for a long time, actually. I think the biggest we've had recently is like 3,000 health or something. Crazy. Thank you so much, Dovenwell, for the 1,000 bits. Wardy, why are you sitting down? Because I would actually kind of like to cast the StarCraft 2 game while doing decorations. Somewhat simultaneously. Like, I'm not going to hang anything up while I'm sat down. Don't worry. Okay. Push comes in from GuMiho again. We mentioned he would probably have the army advantage to get something done with. As we see the interference matrix dropping down. The tank getting caught. And you see the lock on as Cyclone on Cyclone action goes the way of FanTaSy. FanTaSy's just got so much. He's having a fantastic opening to this game. As we do have tank and a couple of Marines still out in the center. Port 80 OC has just also dropped 10,000 bits. Oh my god. I thought I was about to be done with the Rift Blushes. I just got 4 more out to be done. I'm actually going to have to cut up some more Rift Blushes. Where have they gone? Oh, Jesus. New shit of Rift Blushes, guys. Alright. I'll start cutting these up. I can do that. I'll do that during this game. We need the tree cam or else you unsub. I don't think you're going to unsub, dude. I just get that feeling you're not going to unsub. Marines and tanks are moving across the map. Can we get some love in the chat for Port AESE, guys? You guys have been absolutely ridiculous today. Port has not only dropped 40 subs in the channel today, he's also straight up just dropped 10,000 bits as well. Sir G13 with the 4-month resub. Thank you so much for that Twitch Prime for 4 months. Welcome back. It's so great to have you. I'm also going to get you a decoration on the tree. We are just making our way through a bit of a crazy time at the moment. We're going to have to go overtime on this stream, by the way, just to literally be able to get the decorations on the tree. Crazy. Tanks pushing around the right side. They're going to start sieging up a couple of Vikings. Ooh, Antivirus Matrix hits the Raven of FanTaSy. And it's actually low, that Raven. Does not want to lose that, of course. It flies back in. It's going to go taken down. It's a high-energy Raven that just gets picked off here as FanTaSy's attack is going to be put to a standstill here for a moment or two. So FanTaSy's attack put to a standstill. And all said and done, you know, GuMiho is just down on army supply. So if he can hold the attack off, his economy is still good. And if his economy is still good, the army is still good. I see those Vikings working away at the moment. Banshees, SCVs, and tanks pressing forwards. There's a couple of those auto turrets coming down, but this should be a GuMiho cleanup, but it's expensive. 10 SCVs, so FanTaSy will go back into a worker lead here. Really solid stuff. Those Vikings land to help pick off the siege tank, and those SCVs chased away into the corner as well. FanTaSy going to get so many more kills. This is crazy. I thought FanTaSy was going to be completely cleaned up, but those Vikings just don't stop. 18 workers down. GuMiho is bleeding as FanTaSy takes a 30 supply lead. Crazy. Cut, cut, cut. Sorry, guys. I'm cutting out Rift Blush faces. Obviously a very important part of the stream. We'll follow these Vikings. Like, the annoying part is we're casting a replay, which literally means that we can't follow the other casters in the game and how they're watching it. So I literally just have to do the observing on my own while getting spammed with Rift Blushes. As we do see the combat shields coming up on each side of the map. Again, the bio upgrades have been pretty even throughout the game for the players. The 1-1, the stim, the combat. And it is really just FanTaSy with the air control at the moment. He did lose a little bit of his army supply lead that he had, but with the worker lead he just gained, you would imagine he's probably still going to be doing fairly okay with this. So, you'd imagine he's probably still doing kind of alright. As we do have the few Vikings just moving forwards again to see what can get up, what can happen. 2-2 upgrades coming in on either side. So 2-2 upgrades coming in from both players here at the moment. And we also have the +1 mech weapons coming in, but +1 vehicle plating I actually kind of prefer from GuMiho, because if you're going to be playing like an air army, then the vehicle plating obviously affects air and ground. So I kind of prefer that just a little bit. And as we do see the couple of Vikings coming up here from GuMiho, he is pushing forward. He's got a few Marines with these couple of medevacs. Again, for GuMiho at this point, if you're behind, one of the things you want to try and do is get on the map, create opportunities to create favorable trades. A lot of the time you will not create favorable trades if you just sat at home, because then FanTaSy is going to be the one picking the fights. But if you're on the map and you see an opportunity to siege up somewhere, stim in somewhere, you can force FanTaSy to respond, and that response is where GuMiho might start to pick back a few army supply, you know, maybe a little bit of efficiency to make up for the lack of workers that he's had recently, and so on. Picks off structure up here. And again, just cleaning up. It's nice as well, because these Marines are obviously fairly safe as long as the Vikings don't catch the medevacs. And I feel like I might have just jinxed it, because now the Vikings are going to catch a medevac, and stimming forwards, this other medevac goes down before it can boost away. The Marines get out. Turns out the unsafe thing was actually the medevac, so all good as we're going to be seeing these Marines still trying to stim back towards the rest of that army there just for a moment. All of this pulling back up towards the top again. FanTaSy playing a very patient game in all honesty and in all fairness. A very patient game with not too much really going on in the long run. As we are going to be seeing the few Marines around the left side now from GuMiho again, just looking for chances. But with this sensor tower, not much is really going to get away with. You know, GuMiho's not going to get much done on the left. Surprised we don't just see a sensor tower here as well. Would cover the entire top side of the map and give a bit of a warning on this forward fourth base. So I don't feel like that'd be a bad thing from FanTaSy, but he also currently has the map control too. So pushing forwards, Marines and Vikings starting to fight. GuMiho having a little bit of a skirmish as well. 3 free upgrades coming in on both players, but again, FanTaSy, I just love the fact he's continuing to commit into this air army, because I really feel like this air army is just going to bring him so much potential, so much opportunity to kind of really close out a game and to really keep him in such a strong position. Marines and tanks moving around the center of the map here from FanTaSy, so they're going to be looking for opportunities, looking for chances to get some damage done somewhere along the way. There's that sensor tower coming down. It actually comes down very far forwards. Obviously, FanTaSy not too worried about this top pathway because he has the depot here and the depot here, so it makes sense, I guess, to put this to place it where he did. As Vikings will start to have a little bit of a fight. I mean, GuMiho's air army is pretty good, and he does outnumber FanTaSy up in the skies. FanTaSy has the 5 numbers on the ground, though. Just does he want to stim in towards these siege tanks? Probably not. Probably wants to try and stay away from there a little bit. Marines coming around the top side, the top corner. Again, Marines, Vikings, tanks. Okay, Marine up, a few more medivacs coming through. Fusion core is about to pop up from FanTaSy as we do see a big stim in of Marines. There's Marines coming in. They're going to grab themselves a siege tank just like that. They're going to continue forwards, though another tank is actually doing a lot of damage. I mean, I get it. You get a couple of tanks, but I'm not sure if it's still worthwhile for that many Marines. That was crazy. Advanced ballistics coming up as well. FanTaSy is not just looking to take kind of Viking control. Obviously, he wants to use that Viking control and use it to get some liberators into the field as well. So that's what he's currently aiming for. And getting in towards that here. Over the next few moments, we do see another scan coming down. A few of these Vikings are seen right from the get-go. So again, FanTaSy kind of knows what he's pushing into at any point. He does come around the right-hand side. Tanks sieging up. The Vikings pressing forwards here from GuMiho. And as the Vikings press forwards, FanTaSy's a little bit afraid to kind of stick around there. So he's already on siege, looking to reposition. Meanwhile, GuMiho is about to venture into sensor tower range on this left-hand side of the map. FanTaSy actually is confident enough to keep on pushing in here. Needs to be careful of those tanks. I mean, he'll get rid of this plantry, though. There's not enough of an answer to that. But now GuMiho pushes forwards, and what is left for FanTaSy? Well, he's got a couple of tanks which he'll try and siege up. He has no plantry fortresses. It's only orbitals. As you do see, the first tank shot did okay, but now these Marines are going to get picked off. Triple orbital here, probably going to get taken down. Or at least forced to lift up and back away. There is the reinforcements, or the army on the map coming across to reinforce this from FanTaSy. 2 orbitals down so far. The 3rd orbital starting to die. The SCVs, a few of them repairing. He's, oh, the cooling tower. The rocks drop down. The tank gets pushed backwards. I thought it would have been crushed, but the tank does get pushed back. FanTaSy is going to be, well, probably pretty happy to just take a fight. He's got the better Marine count, so a mobile kind of fight like for him is definitely a little bit better because he is able to reposition a lot more easily. And GuMiho is, who is so reliant on the siege tanks here, actually. Siege tanks sieging up as we see the Marines are pushing in towards tanks on the high ground. Those tanks on the high ground are getting so much done. FanTaSy's just going to go across the map with his own Marines, confident that his tanks and other reinforcements of the Marines over here, which they are starting to do, so he is not wrong. FanTaSy's starting to put himself in a bit of a better position right now. Vikings firing away, Liberator shots, getting rid of the tanks as well, and, well, Bio coming forwards. We're going to see those SCVs being picked off. 21 workers killed here at the moment. FanTaSy with some good counterattack and lifts up just 2 medevacs units. That's all he has in terms of medevacs. The rest are just Marines on the ground. They might get picked off by these tanks here. Vision is there because of the refinery. It's a massacre of Marines, but over in the main base. Okay, well, FanTaSy's just doing too much, and he will get the GG out of GuMiho. FanTaSy take us into game. Bottom left-hand side up a game is our red Terran player. This is FanTaSy. And to the top right-hand side, we have ourselves the blue Terran player from Systone Gaming. It's GuMiho. Do I include baubles for subs like Loco, says Rushy with the 6-month free sub? I do. Quite literally, I do. But we currently have a backlog of about 50 subs, Rushy, so You're going to have to give me a moment. And we've also got a proxy coming down from GuMiho here, so we got to pay some attention to this game. Bottom left-hand side, we see double racks going to be placed. So the proxy Reaper play coming in for the TvT. I mean, you can't be all too surprised, right? It's, I mean, it's a classic TvT maneuver. It's a classic build for the TvT as well. So, yeah, getting this set up and getting this rolling. Thank you so much, Rishi, for that half-a-year resub, by the way. I will get you on the tree literally as soon as I'm literally preparing decorations right now because we're so far behind. So I'm just doing that, and then I'm going to do like a mass writing spree as we continue through. After this, we have one last series, actually. We're almost done with the day, really? One last series coming up after this. It's going to be the FanTaSy Drogo series. That's still to come in just a little bit. And then after that, we'll do tree decorating. Is there a Twitch section for that, for Christmas tree decorating? Is that just chatting? We might have to tag ourselves there for a little while while we play catch-up. Obviously, this SCV Scout of FanTaSy has seen the lack of barracks back at home for GuMiho, so he will assume some sort of proxy play is coming. He does hide this SCV away. That keeps his options open moving forwards here. It means that FanTaSy now has a chance to do some other bits and pieces in this, where he can maybe hide a starport or so. Anyways, GuMiho comes in with the first Reapers, so FanTaSy... Where's FanTaSy's first Reaper? Already in the mineral line, where the SCVs can, of course, come in and protect. A lot of SCVs going down as FanTaSy continues to pull workers in for this. So there's 2 SCVs down at the moment, and again, these Reapers starting to get quite a lot done. Grenade! Blasts a couple of SCVs away. Hellion pushes those Reapers back as well, off over to the side. And again, those extra Reapers are going to be coming up in the next few moments. Some more Reapers continue to come on in. Starport from FanTaSy is proxied, so with a Liberator here, the idea is there's not a lot really back at home to defend against something like a proxied Starport or a Liberator. Like, it's going to come in very quickly and so on. Right now, FanTaSy is doing a good job of defending this. I mean, SCV scouting this early helps him to start defending properly, helps him to start getting the right sort of setup going. Another Reaper grenade just coming down as those Reapers will just back off over to the side. Reapers hopping down to the low ground and continuing through the center. Going to go all the way towards the upper right in the next couple of moments. That's interesting. GuMiho just going all the way back home. He wants to defend. Liberator still building. And it kind of gives FanTaSy the chance to kind of come onto the map here a little bit. So a few Reapers and a few Hellions able to come forwards. Cyclone of GuMiho is out. We'll shut down some of this pressure, but it means the Cyclone's also out of position for the Liberator currently heading in towards the main base. So Liberator heading in towards the main base is about to get sieged up. And that should be a few SCV kills, or at least a lot of lost mine time. Pulling away instantly means it's going to be a lot of lost mine time, which is, of course, better than losing the SCVs forever, but, well, it's tough, because now the Cyclone has to come so far back, and GuMiho's just not mining at all. And also pulls units back, allowing these Hellions to come forwards, but one Hellion picked off that high ground for GuMiho, just a little bit too good at the moment. Both Cyclones lock on, Liberator goes down, SCVs go back to mining, Banshee and a tank on the way from FanTaSy back at home as well. GuMiho still has this expansion, which is something that FanTaSy does not have on his side. Interested to see how this Cloak Banshee works out. It is in this bottom right corner, remember, so it's going to be on this right-hand side of the map very quickly. Oh, these units are actually bypassing each other here. 2 Hellions and 3 Reapers will hit the front. And there's nothing out or even close to being out. Well, meanwhile, well, Marines and the Cyclones are gets rid of... Oh, a tank as well. The tank's huge. Need to try and target down that Cyclone, but the... well, it was target firing and then it didn't actually get the shot off, unfortunately. Well, this Cyclone left over. A couple more Marines pop out. SCVs are going to come in for a surround, but Reapers will change that up. Reapers and Hellions over here will start to trade with the SCVs too, and this is becoming crazy. The SCVs surrounded the Cyclone, then they do get a kill. Okay, well, everyone's going to lose the majority of their workers. This Liberator alone will not be able to defend, but there's a Cyclone here too. But I guess that's when the Cloak Banshees show up. Going to go for this Cyclone at the moment. SCVs are going to try and defend it. And the repair is actually good for the moment. FanTaSy down to 0 workers, and GuMiho looking good at the moment. 14 workers still alive as this tank is actually going to help to get a couple more Reapers, so a lot more lost there out of GuMiho. But he looks kind of okay. Biggest issue maybe being these Banshees. 2 of them together will join up and come straight forwards, cloak up instantly. There is a scan available, so there is some detection as an option here. SCV's been killed. FanTaSy realizing he needs to get rid of this. Oh, those Cyclones are in a very risky situation there, as we're going to see one of the Banshees taken down. The next scan is available too, but now it's only one Cyclone. The Banshee damage with a Hellion and a Reaper to block it away. Stops the SCV surround and repair. So suddenly, it's a Reaper and a Hellion fighting these SCVs. A Viking is on the way out from GuMiho. Across the map, the Liberator shows up. So now FanTaSy can't really mine much more. This Marine needs to get out of the Liberator range, but it goes down. FanTaSy still just rallying units across the map, so suddenly GuMiho is on free workers, and suddenly GuMiho is not the player with an army to work with either. This Viking, this Liberator, that's all there really is here, as FanTaSy is absolutely killing this right now. You're going to see the tank, a couple of Marines up in the main base. We're going to be seeing a Reaper poking away at the orbital. FanTaSy has enough units to make this work, but obviously GuMiho can lift him back away for now. FanTaSy with 2 SCVs hiding away in the corner. This orbital going to get away, so you can maybe mine behind the mineral line and go back and mine some more units. I mean, FanTaSy could actually just build a Marine to fight this Liberator, as long as he keeps it out of the Liberator zone. Would be a perfect way to do this, actually. Liberator sieges up once again there. A couple of Marines of FanTaSy still pushing that orbital way up towards the upper side of the map. Reaper and a siege tank here from FanTaSy just picking their way through a couple of bits and pieces as well. Some more Marines too. So it turns into this very weird base rate scenario where I just don't think... I mean, the Viking from GuMiho stops a draw on one side. FanTaSy has 1 SCV remaining. Thank you so much. Stampede, 993 of the 5-month resub. Fun, fun, fun. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. All the lands down here from GuMiho. Has to lift back up pretty much right away. Still this Viking just pushing this orbital back around different places. I mean, there's not a lot of anti-air to get rid of this Liberator, and that's kind of the issue. Oh, but the Marines on the other side are going to get it! And that's going to be GG. I mean, FanTaSy had the units. It was just a matter of being able to use them in the right place. And eventually that orbital gets somewhere where it can be used properly, right? So, GG.